राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Just use yours. Just use yours. Can you use yours to project here? Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari. Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari. Take it out. Take it out. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachadi. Jamuna Tira Vanachadi. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Girivardhari Jasodanandana Brajajanarandana Jasodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivadavacharya Astatara Satasi Simadis Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavarinda Ki Shri Radha Nilamadava Ki Samveda Bhaktavrinda Ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. I'm just going to, this is just an introductory slide, that's all I'm going to do. During this holiday weekend, I'm going to be making a presentation on Sri Brahma Samhita, a text that was written by the original founder of our Sampradaya, Lord Brahma. And this is intended, this evening's class is just an introduction to Sri Brahma Samhita. And I thought I'd begin with giving an explanation of its history. Of course, the history begins with Brahma preparing it. Doesn't give any indication how that was done, meaning like Vyasadeva compiled the Vedas from an oral tradition to a written form in a very particular way, in a particular time. Those details are not clear, other than this is a text by Lord Brahma, in some cases written in the first person, or excuse me, in the third person, meaning Brahma did this and Brahma received that, Brahma said this. But we find that sometimes even in Srimad Bhagavatam, where Vyas compiled, and it's Vyas writing saying that Vyas compiled. So at least that's the understanding that I have in the presentation, is Brahma wrote this. It's from him. He's its author and it's the originator of this text. And it was lost to obscurity until Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found it. I'm going to describe that, Lord Chaitanya's finding of Sri Brahma Samhita. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived his first 24 years in Navadvip. At the end of his 24th year, he took the order of sannyas at the request of his mother Sachi. Instead of going to Vrindavan, he went to Puri. He remained in Puri for a short time, and then he desired to look for his elder brother Vishvarup. Actually, it was a pretext, because Vishvarup had already left this world. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to make a tour of South India and give the message of pure devotion to Krishna in the course of that tour. And he visited many holy places. One of those holy places that he visited was the Adi Keshava temple. And I'm going to read those texts. It's from Madhya Lila, chapter 9. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes, in the temple of Adi Keshava, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discussed spiritual matters among highly advanced devotees. While there, he found a chapter of Brahma Samhita. A chapter means the whole book has 100 chapters. He found one chapter of the 100 chapters. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was greatly happy to find a chapter of that scripture, and symptoms of ecstatic transformation, trembling, tears, perspiration, trance, and jubilation were manifest in his body. Pretty special book, huh? Do you know of any other historical record where someone found a book and they experienced ecstatic symptoms? In the earliest presentation by the BBT, there was a foreword written by Shubhananda Prabhu, who remarks like that. Nowhere in the history of the world is it found that someone finding a book not just was happy, but was exhibiting ecstatic symptoms. The next text. There is no scripture. This is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writing. There is no scripture equal to Brahma Samhita as far as the final spiritual conclusions are concerned. Indeed, that scripture is the supreme revelation of the glories of Lord Govinda, for it reveals the topmost knowledge about him. Since all conclusions are briefly presented in the Brahma Samhita, it is essential among all Vaishnava scriptures. And there's a short purport by Srila Prabhupada where he summarizes the contents. The Brahma Samhita is a very important scripture. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu acquired the 5th chapter from the Adi Keshava temple. In that 5th chapter, the philosophical conclusion of Achintya Beda Beda Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference, is presented. It's presented, of course, throughout the text, but it's especially noted in the final verse, which is where our discussion is going to end. as you know, the different sampradayas, or lines of disciplic succession coming originally from the personality of Godhead, each have their perspective or way of viewing the Vedas. And without naming them, they're Vaishnava teachings, that is to say, the personality of Godhead is one, the absolute truth is one and is a person, and is to be worshipped. And through that process of worship, one can achieve spiritual perfection. They all say that same idea. But how it is understood that all things are in relation to Him, there's different ways of explaining it. And there's systems, or vadas, or doctrines. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's doctrine, or teaching, of the simultaneous oneness of all things with God, simultaneously the difference of all things with God or from God, are combined. Inconceivable simultaneous oneness and difference. That's fundamental to Lord Chaitanya's teachings, and it's explicitly presented in Sri Brahma Samhita. You'll see as we proceed, explicitly stated like that. The chapter also presents methods of devotional service. The 18-syllable Vedic hymn, the Gopal mantra. We'll hear about all these things. Discourses on the soul, the super soul, and fruitive activity. An explanation of Kama Gayatri, Kama Bija, and the original Mahavishnu. And a detailed description of the spiritual world, specifically Goloka, Vrindavan. The Brahma Samhita also explains the demigod Ganesh, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, the origin of the Gayatri mantra, the form of Govinda and his transcendental position and abode, the living entities, the highest goal, the goddess Durga, the meaning of austerity, the 5 gross elements, love of Godhead, impersonal Brahman, the initiation of Lord Brahma, and the vision of transcendental love enabling one to see the Lord. The steps of devotional service are also explained. The mind, Yoga Nidra, the goddess of fortune, devotional service in spontaneous ecstasy. Incarnations beginning with Lord Ramachandra. Deities, the conditioned soul and its duties, the truth about Lord Vishnu, prayers, Vedic hymns, Lord Shiva, the Vedic literature, personalism and impersonalism, good behavior, and many other subjects are also discussed. It sounds like an encyclopedia. And it's just a skinny little book. There is also a description of the sun and the universal form of the Lord. All these subjects are conclusively explained in a nutshell in Brahma Samhita. So it goes on to explain. Immediately Lord Chaitanya arranged for the book to be copied. Didn't take it to a copy store and had it scanned. It was done by hand. A copy was made, so he stayed as long, at least, for the Sri Brahma Samhita to be copied by hand, and he traveled with that and regularly would recite that. And another book that he found in the course of his travels was Krishna Karnamrita. When we were in Vrindavan, we heard something about Krishna Karnamrita. a book by Bilbamangala Thakur. So these two books, Sri Brahma Samhita and Krishna Karnamrita, were very much relished by Lord Chaitanya on a regular basis. When he returned back to Puri, he made a gift copy to Ramananda Roy. And later it specifically said that when Vasudev Datta arrived, he gave a copy of both to Vasudev Datta and then to Sarup Damodar. And then it says all the devotees made copies. And it became, these two literatures became well-known literatures throughout the land of India. And now we're bringing it to Seattle, the message of Sri Brahma Samhita. Eventually, Jiva Goswami made commentary. Now, Jiva Goswami in his commentary makes a comment about the subject matter is very lofty and difficult, but the commentaries of other great souls have made it understandable. So apparently there were commentaries before Jiva Goswami's commentary, but he made a commentary in Sanskrit. And several centuries later, Bhaktivinoda Thakur made a Bengali rendering of Jiva Goswami's Sanskrit commentary. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur made an English rendering of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bengali rendering of Jiva Goswami's Sanskrit commentary based on the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, with many scriptural references to support the statements that Jiva Goswami was making. So then the BBT published it. And when the BBT published it, they found a copy and they asked Prabhupada, is it okay to print it? And Prabhupada said a number of things. He said, yes, print it, but don't edit anything. And they said, but Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta's language is formidable. Most people won't be able to understand it. And Prabhupada said, don't edit it. Because his language is very precise, and if you try to edit it to make it more approachable, you may lose something. So don't edit it. And then he went on to say, just print 1 or 2 pages at a time. This is Back to Godhead, for their Back to Godhead magazine. Because otherwise their brain will be puzzled. And then he went on to say, when I would hear Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur speak in Bengali, in his native tongue, in my native tongue, my brain was puzzled. But I would sit and listen. Even my brain was puzzled. Because I knew that I would become purified just by hearing his wonderful sound vibration. And Bhaktisiddhanta marked this boy. Of course, he wasn't a boy, he was a man. But this boy, he stays and listens. The others come and go. He stays and listens. So the quality of the quality of little boys that sit in the front row and jump around is a little distracting. If you want to sit in the front, sit still. If you want to jump around, then there's a back row. Okay? Thanks. We'll go through this dance a few times before it gets settled down. he recommended, as he did with Nectar Devotion, Prabhupada recommended, if people say they can't understand, ask them to read it again. And after reading it again, they can't understand, ask them to read it again. And by reading again and again, gradually purification will take place, and then they can understand. Meaning, it's not the language of Bhaktisiddhanta as well as the subject matter. In other words, even when Prabhupada was hearing from Bhaktisiddhanta in Bengali, the subject matter that he would speak about was very lofty. And the way that he would speak about the lofty subject matter was lofty. But that was just him. He was just being Bhaktisiddhanta. He was very lofty. And those who heard from him became elevated. That's been my experience. I'll just share this little anecdotal thing along with introduction to Brahma Samhita. When I was in college, I got my first Back to Godhead magazine from Borijan Prabhu. We went to college together, and I didn't know him really well, but I knew him. And we were sitting together with a group of other people one day in the student cafeteria, and he gave me a Back to Godhead magazine. I didn't know what it was. I just thanked him and was carrying it around on my clipboard along with all my other stuff. And a couple of people remarked, they pointed to the magazine and said, "You're into that?" I said, "What's that? What do you mean that?" "Well, you know that." So I said, I better read the magazines, find what that is. And in the magazine, it was not done the way it's done now. It was done with mimeograph machines and then stapled together on the ends. That's how they were able to do it at the time. And in that first Back to Godhead magazine I received was an article by Bhaktisiddhanta called The Bhagavad, Its Ontology and Morphology. And even just to understand the title, I had to look it up in the dictionary. But I started reading it. I had my dictionary ready. And 3 hours later, I finished reading the article. And I had lots of underlinings in the book from things I had looked up in the dictionary, and I can't remember how much I understood out of reading that article, but I do remember very clearly two things. I felt my consciousness was way up there. And it wasn't because it was technical, because I was used to reading technical things, and that wasn't it. It was transcendental. And I understood this person is transcendental. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's a transcendental personality, and I like the place that he's taken me to. I don't know how it happened, but just through his association. I've been elevated. So from that the very first Krishna conscious literature that I read, I had this awe and respect and veneration for Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And so thinking about reading Brahma Samhita has always been something that I wanted to do. But every time, maybe you can share this experience with me, every time I took it off the bookshelf and started reading it, it didn't stay in my hand too long. It made it back onto the bookshelf quickly. Because the language is so lofty. Now, many years ago, 20 years ago, I tried. I still have the copy of where all the underlinings are in the book and the word meanings, and so I for this presentation I provided a glossary. Like a little dictionary. But the essence of understanding Bhaktisiddhanta is not just, and the presentation that I'm going to make is not go through his language and unpack his language and display when he says this, he means such and such. I'm not going to do that. You can do that, and it's a good exercise to do. But the essence of it is not the language per se. The message is the transcendental subject matter. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a transcendentalist, and the subject of Sri Brahma Samhita is Krishna, Govinda specifically. And by reading it and by spending time with it, you will feel closer to Govinda. I'm sure of it. I mean, from preparing for this, I'm feeling that, and I'm sure it'll come out in the course of the presentation. But you please also read carefully and listen carefully and see if your consciousness gets closer to Govinda at the end. So something that inspired one more time taking the book off the shelf and now just getting into it. Here's a letter from 1967, October, from Prabhupada to Pradyumna. Pradyumna was a Sanskrit scholar. Prabhupada called him Panditji. And he was supposed to deal with the Sanskrit matters, like for specifically synonyms. Prabhupada would do his translations. Pradyumna would receive the Sanskrit words, and he was supposed to supply the English synonyms for each of the Sanskrit words. Pradyumna was a classic lazy, intelligent person. For those of you that know these four things, Prabhupada says there are four kinds of intelligent. Lazy intelligent, active intelligent, lazy foolish, active foolish. Active foolish is like the monkey. Some people are foolish but lazy. Some people are intelligent but active. And some people are lazy intelligent. Pradyumna was lazy intelligent. He knew a lot, but he was lazy. Because I remember specifically one time Prabhupada came to New York, and Prabhupada had translated like 8 chapters of the Bhagavatam, verse and purports. Pradyumna was 8 chapters behind in the synonyms, and Prabhupada was very upset. So in one night he did it all. That's not to say Prabhupada didn't have the capacity for lazy intelligence, but Pradyumna was a little too lazy. But anyway, here's a letter from October 1967, where Prabhupada's writing, My dear Pradyumna, please accept my blessings. I received your letter of October 6th and 7th. Achyutananda is learning Hindi. And when he is well versed in language, probably he'll be able to translate all the Puranas available in Hindi into English. Brahma Samhita is the gist of the Srimad Bhagavatam in the Bhagavad Gita, as well as in Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna is accepted as supreme, and everything about him is nicely described there. Similarly, in the Brahma Samhita, everything about Krishna is perfectly described. In the very beginning of the book, Krishna is accepted as the Supreme Lord, existing eternally in his transcendental form, and is the cause of all causes. One who reads the Brahma Samhita very carefully and scrutinizingly can understand everything of Krishna without any fault I recommend, therefore, that all my students read Brahma Samhita very carefully, especially because it was translated personally by my spiritual master, Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. So when I read that, I thought, I'm going to do it. Prabhupada is saying, all my students should read Brahma Samhita very carefully. Now Prabhupada gave so many instructions, and you'd have many lifetimes to fill up, fulfilling all of his instructions. But because of my affinity for Bhaktisiddhanta and deep regard and gratitude, I decided I would follow this instruction. So I've been preparing for a number of months, and it's been wonderful. It's Brahma Samhita is like they're like sutras, meaning little compact statements that express volumes, and you rub like sandalwood. And if anybody has made sandalwood paste, you have a flat stone, you take some sandalwood and a little bit of water, not too much, and you rub and rub and rub, and you rub and rub, and eventually you get a paste, but it's not only a liquidy paste that you can then use in your deity worship. It's very fragrant. So that's what we'll be doing, making sandalwood paste. Taking these verses of Brahma Samhita, there's only 62, but in those 62, the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam are found in a compact form, at least the essence of the subject matters of Brahma Samhita and Srimad Bhagavatam, as stated by Prabhupada, and a little bit I'm going to read from Jiva Goswami's Mangalacharana of Sri Brahma Samhita. Mangalacharana, it comes at the beginning. It's a little glorification. Mangala Charana, introductory glorification. Jiva, this is a translation of his Mangalacharana. Within my heart I worship the splendor of Lord Krishna's transcendental form. I desire that by Lord Krishna's mercy I will be able to explain the verses of Brahma Samhita. Although the Brahma Samhita is a very difficult book, the commentaries of the sages have made it easy to understand. My words follow their explanations. Although the Brahma Samhita contains 100 chapters, because this chapter briefly describes Lord Krishna's transcendental form, it is the best. The same transcendental sweetness the pure-hearted devotees see in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vaishnava Shastras is also present in the Brahma Samhita. For this reason, my heart is now happy. After due reflection, in this book I have lightly touched on the same topics, more elaborately explained in my Sri Krishna Sandarbha. Krishna Sandarbha is one of 6 of the Sat Sandarbhas, which are super excellent, brilliant commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. Jiva Goswami was such a scholar that he not only wrote one commentary, he wrote 3 commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam. One of them was, as Prabhupada did, verse by verse through the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Then separately he wrote another commentary just on the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And another was topic by topic commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's the Sandarbhas. And they're 6 in number. One of them has just been published. Gopi Pranadhana Prabhu did some work translating Tattva Sandarbha, which included Jiva Goswami's writing and Baladev Vidyabhusan's commentary on Tattva Sandarbha, and it's now available. In fact, while we were in our GBC meeting in Juhu just this October, we each received a gift copy. Now, I've already read Tattva Sandarbha because I studied Tattva Sandarbha under Gopi Pranadhana at the Vrindavan Institute. And he gave me an electronic copy before it's now, but now it's printed. But Tattva Sandarbha is the first, and in its Mangalacharana, Jiva Goswami opens with glorifying his Ishtadev, his worshipable Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he describes the purpose of his writing is to glorify Krishna. And then he says, before I enter into this glorification of Krishna, it is best to ask the question, how does the subject matter of Krishna, how is the subject matter of Krishna to be known? He's inviting pramana, or evidence, the means of understanding a subject matter. So then he launches into Pramana Kanda, the section that deals with how do you know about Krishna, and for that matter, how do you know about anything? And he goes through a whole sequence of, I'm not going to summarize it, but he ends up saying the Srimad Bhagavatam is the best means of knowing about Krishna. So one of the Sandarbhas is Krishna Sandarbha. It's how do we understand Krishna? Because Brahma Samhita is exactly the same thing. It's understanding of Krishna and how to understand Krishna. It's a summarization of the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. And so, in Krishna Sandarbha, the same subject matters as discussed in Brahma Samhita are discussed there more elaborately. So in the course of this presentation, I'll be making reference to Krishna Sandarbha and another number of other things, but reference to Krishna Sandarbha because in Jiva Goswami's commentary on Sri Brahma Samhita, he makes references to passages from Krishna Sandarbha. So the message I'm sharing right now is Brahma Samhita is about Krishna. And so naturally, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy to receive the literature. It's revealing Krishna. Now, the effort that I'm going to, in preparing for this, most people when they think of Brahma Samhita, it's the prayers. Govindam Adi Purusham Tambaham Bhajami. And there are a number of them, and they're very beautiful. But before those prayers, there's a number of other topics discussed. And after those prayers, there's some other very important topics that are discussed. And that's what we're going to be covering. Meaning, part 2 is going to be the Govinda prayers. And this is part 1. It's everything but the Govinda prayers. So if you're expecting to hear some presentation on the Govinda prayers, tune in for next year. Because I'm just going to be covering all the other portions except that. And it's so voluminous. I'm starting tonight, although normally it's not, tonight is not part of the... And on Sunday evening for the feast lecture, I'm going to have to use that time too. Because it's so voluminous. And even to do that was challenging, to pack it in. So I'll have 13 sessions, starting with tomorrow morning, the invocation verse, or the first verse, the essential verse that sets the message for the whole rest of Brahma Samhita, and for that matter, the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam, for that matter. We'll discuss it tomorrow morning. And then there's a section on the process of creation, which is one of the topics of the Bhagavatam. And then there's the process of sub-creation and the enlightenment of Lord Brahma. Whoops, what happened to the... No. The other one. The one before that. The one before that, please. No, yes. That's the cover picture or painting for Sri Brahma Samhita, and it's depicting the enlightenment or the initiation of Lord Brahma, because Krishna is playing upon his flute, and the sound, he got to the stage of enlightenment before there was creation, where he heard the sound of Krishna's flute, and that sound came out of his mouth in the form of Gayatri Mantra. So that's the manifestation of Gayatri Mantra in this realm, and we'll be hearing about that subject matter as part of Sri Brahma Samhita. And then the stages of sub-creation performed by Lord Brahma. And there's then a break. He then composes these Govinda prayers. And then at the conclusion, very important part, especially relevant for those who are not perfected souls yet but wish to come to the stage of becoming further purified, having spiritual attraction, at the same time having material desire, and how to move forward with those two seemingly contradictory dispositions of heart. That's the conclusion of Sri Brahma Samhita. So just a quick little message here. The invocation verse, the first verse, sets the tone for all of the other verses, which says that Krishna is the source of everything. He's the cause of all causes. In the process of creation, we hear about cause and effect. We'll hear a lot about it. The understanding is Krishna is the original cause. He's a cause of things that then cause other things, that cause other things, that cause other things. But he sets the whole causation chain in motion. He is the source of all those things that change, because everything that exists is his potency. It's either him or his. And so the spiritual world, we'll hear a description of that, Krishna's abode, and then the material realm and how that is all set in motion, and in some detail. But the theme is Krishna is the original source of everything. And one who fixes their consciousness upon that original source of everything becomes the knower of all things. as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, one who knows me becomes the knower of all things. Trying to think if there's some other introductory message I need to be sharing. I think that's it. So, Sri Brahma Samhita. I hope many of you will be able to attend the entire session. The message is profound. The message is attractive because the message is Krishna, and the different features of Krishna's identity will help us become attracted and appreciative of Him and our connection with Him. In everything that we do, we're connected, because everything is connected with Him. And it'll help us understand and appreciate that. So, any comments or questions? Yes.
You said that the lazy intelligence and that 4 division you explained there. Which one is better in those? And can you explain a little more about it?
They're all better.
They're better.
It's just different categories of intelligence. So a Brahmana, a Kshatriya is one who knows and does. A Brahmana is one who knows, and he advises those who do. That's the good kind of lazy intelligence. So Prabhupada's comment, he's too lazy. So that's not good. But lazy intelligent means a Brahmana, one who knows, but he's not always doing. He knows. And Kshatriya is one who knows, and he does. Rajarshi, a rishi who is Raja. And but the bottom is the active foolish, the monkey. People that just run around and do things, and it's very foolish, and they're very active, and they're always doing things, and it's always very disruptive and very foolish, without intelligence guiding their activity.
You said that the active, foolish intelligence is the lowest intelligence of all, but isn't that not intelligence at all?
Well, to do foolish things, it takes intelligence. When we were going through Vrindavan, we were advised, take your glasses off. Because the monkeys like to jump on your head and take your glasses and eat your glasses. You know, it takes intelligence to do that. Not all monkeys know how to do that. But there was one gentleman who had an eyeglasses business. And in a certain part of Vrindavan, he trained up some of the monkeys to take people's glasses and eat their glasses, so they would have to come and get glasses at his optical business. But some of the monkeys trained the other monkeys, and now the whole of Vrindavan, they're like that. They had to go to monkey school to learn how to steal people's glasses and eat them. Like they chew on them. They look at you and smile and chew on them. You have to go to the glasses store to get new glasses. So it's ignorance, but it's a kind of intelligence. It's just as Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita, knowledge in the mode of ignorance is to accept that which is not to be done as what is to be done. And what is to be done is not to be done. Knowledge in the mode of ignorance. Okay?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, in every occasion, like in ISKCON, we read Brahma Samhita as when we are doing the fire sacrifice, in like initiation ceremony, housewarming. Every time we do this, what is the importance of that?
You're making a statement. What's the question?
No, question. This is the question.
What's the question?
No, every time we do Brahma Samhita, we read the Brahma Samhita
So
prayer.
what's the question?
So what is the importance of initially doing those ceremony?
There are, it's in short, they are auspicious sound vibrations that just by vibrating those auspicious sound vibrations, it creates auspicious, transcendental auspiciousness through sound vibration. That's why. We're invoking and glorifying Govinda. So our attention goes to him. And by those sound vibrations, the place and the people and the whole situation becomes sanctified transcendentally. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all. So, of course, Maharaj, as you can see, Maharaj is very excited to be here to give us this seminar of Brahma Samhita, and it's the 13th session, concluding in Sunday feast, actually. So, few practical announcements, like there are a lot of children I see here, and I'm sure they will cry time to time, or they will get restless. So the room next door, there is a sound. Whatever you hear here, that's broadcasted there. So if your child is making noise, you're welcome to use that facility. Downstairs, in a temple dining hall area also, the sound is broadcasted, the same lectures, so that can be heard. Of course, it's also online. You can hear audio and video. The restrooms are downstairs, and also we welcome His Grace Radha Krishna Prabhu, Jai Sachinandan Prabhu, Namaruchi Prabhu, families, many other devotees, Satya Prabhu. A lot of people have come from various places. So if you need anything, or if we can assist you in making your stay or anything comfortable, please let us know. We'll be very happy to help you. Hari Vallabha here is going to take care of any problems arises. So there's a breakfast, lunch, and there's a dinner every day. You don't have to worry about anything. And let us know if we can serve you in any manner to make your this attendance here comfortable. Hare Krishna. And we'll see you at 7 o'clock in the morning. So we'll start sharp at 7 o'clock. There are devotees worldwide watching this seminar. So we don't want them to be waiting. So we'll start on time. And so please be here on time. Thank you. Hari Bol.